What's up, guys? Mick here, and today we're talking about the federal rate being raised for the 10th time in a single year. Now, the Federal Reserve raised interest rates by 25 basis points on Wednesday. Now, what does this really mean? Is this part of the reason that we're seeing banking collapses happen in the United States? We've got Silvergate, Signature, Silicon Valley Bank, First Republic, and a few more lining up to fall as well. Will JP Morgan jump on and purchase those ones as well? I don't think so. But the Federal Reserve says that the banks were irresponsible and held on to too much of their bad debt. Now, the banks try and say that the Fed is responsible for raising those rates too fast and too high. What do you think? With debt costing more, people have less money to save and could eventually cause another crash, which is already happening in some areas. I mean, if you look at Austin, Texas, you've got homes down 13%, but most of these areas are, maybe 1 or 2%. They're not experiencing the huge loss that some in Austin are. Now, that's to be expected because with a higher interest rate, that can cost a significantly more amount to buy your house this year than it did last year, even though the home price itself is lower. And that's because interest rates work a little bit differently than what you would think on the face. A 3% to 6% raise doesn't work the way that you think it does. You have to sit down with the experts, do the math, and figure out how that's going to actually affect you down the line. For someone who has a house payment of, say, $5,000, that's going to be maybe $8,000 or $9,000 under the new basis points. It's kind of a drastic change, and the housing market's being artificially held up because of all the other things surrounding the industries. Now, there are some positive things despite all the negative we've been talking about, like the touring activity is up 20% in some of these cities that are experiencing the little bit of housing market crash here. And the stock market, depending on who you're listening to, could indicate that good things are on the path. Now, Johns Hopkins says that their most reliable valuation is more extreme than ever prior to July 2020, all the way back to 1949 or so, expecting a negative 10 to 12-year S&P 500 return with the prospects of negative 60% losses. However, earnings are strong, unemployment is very low, and Bank of America thinks we'll have an upside of 16% in the next 12 months, just looking at the bearish market. Now, bonds and treasuries are being favored over stocks as well, so that is a positive indicator as well. Now, we just hit the terminal federal funds rate, the highest interest rate they expect to hit before coming back down, so that's positive as well. Now, everything seems to be going the way that Jerome Powell wants, but I think we'll see less lending, tighter policies, and more failures as time to come. Now, some people think this makes no difference in a possible recession as wage gains are finally outpacing inflation rates anyways. So more income could really keep everything running forward in spite of the credit crunch. So if you've liked what you've heard today and you want to learn a little bit more, hit the subscribe bell, follow us, and we'll inform you as best as we can on the things that are changing.